just love the drama.
Biggest U-turn since winter fuel allowance.
Cut that.
Because loose lips sink ships.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
Listen, you're really making a mess here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're getting really cross with you.
The sticky patch came when the rest of the team sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, boobs joke, hot wings.
You should be stood outside Hillsborough in the stocks having rotten fruit thrown in.
The Wednesday week! Put on your podcast!
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday week prior to our League Cup tie in the midweek under the lights. Is anybody going to be there? We don't know as we face Grimsby Town, but we talk it up with Alex from the DN35 podcast in. Alex, welcome to the show. You all right, pal?
That's a lot of energy. That is an awful lot of energy.
I tell you what, when we wrote it and when we did it, we were winning, you know what I mean? And then now we're like, oh, this is as good as it gets. It's peaked after the first minute and a half of the show, you know what I mean? That's it. We're done now. Alex, listen, congratulations at beating Manchester United at Blundell Park. I absolutely love giant killings like that. They are what the cups are all about for me. I was going to say mixed bag after that game, but recently, there was a hard fought game against Bradford City, who are flying very high, and then hell of a game again, mad as a fishing petrol game against MK Dons, and then a last gasper against Cambridge. It seems unfair to ask, but do you feel like it's taken the wind out of your sails a bit?
Do you know what? The first half, so the first game we had back after it against Bristol Rovers, that first half, absolutely after the Lord's Mayor show, I'm pretty sure our left back still had a Peroni in his hand. It was a little bit like that. But the second half, they came out, and I think they'd been given an absolute bollocking. So they came out with half a decent, came back and should have done enough to win it. Bradford game was a bit annoying because little bit of a second string team, and we had an absolutely laughable red card that's been rescinded since, where our poor lad who's like 19 years old, who is it for Bradford? Is it Halliday? The experience, rolling around on the floor. It was
that's the experience, perfect. Alex. That's how they get you. When they say experience, they're good at the shithousing. That's pretty much
exactly. His mum will be ashamed of him, and
let's hope he gets told off and sent to bed without any supper.
Exactly. And so we did all right, actually. But then yesterday, probably our worst performance of the season. So, it's one of those things at the moment where you go, actually, we played terribly. We got a point. That's what champions do. It's also teams what get relegated do. But it was all right. I think we've done enough. There's still a fair few players that are injured. When we played Manchester United, we had Garner, who was up front. Cameron Gardner had barely started a game. He's come on and shown pieces, but since subsequently now he's blooming heck, he's good. He went off to Scotland in the 21s and pulled his hamstring, so we haven't seen him since. But it's mixed. But that first half against Milton Keynes I don't know if it really counts as a performance if it's a football club that shouldn't exist, but it's they were incredible. And then you trying to. They'd got them down to 10 men, and you thought they were just going to try and play it out, and they got a little bit nervy towards the end of it. But all in all, you can't find a Town fan that isn't grinning from ear to ear, mostly because we're not fighting for relegation for once.
Well, I tell you what, I remember Grimsby Town being an established championship team. You know what I mean? But I've just realised I'm going back 2 decades, and I've shown my age a little bit there. And you've had your own fair share of financial issues with your ownership and things such as that over that period. But Milton Keynes Dons are on the verge of a good season. They've taken Callum Patterson from us. They've got a good manager in charge, and to beat them and go, I think you went 3-0 up, didn't you, in the first 20 odd minutes to get a result against them? Yeah, it's not not a big ass. It was a big ass. Sorry, it's not a drop in the ocean that you beat them. That's a hell of a performance. But speaking of hell of performance, I'm going to give you another opportunity to get on your soapbox and talk about that Manchester United game. I asked you on air last week, didn't I? I said, did you feel like it was going to be here we go again? Once you'd had that third goal disallowed, which would have put you 3-1 up, you thought, oh, this is just big team bias and all the rest of it.
It did. Do you know what? There was two lads then following that linesman up and down for the next sort of 15 minutes, giving him grief. It did feel a little bit like that, but I don't know whether we're relatively stoic. But the most of the people that I know, after we'd had that first half, go, right, if that's it, that's amazing. Because let's be honest, it's just about making sure that any of those boring bastards that sorry, I'm showing that I'm being down south too long then. Those boring bastards. That walk around in a Manchester United shirt. I assume Sheffield is full of it as well.
Yeah.
You've got all these people who've got no imagination, basically think football's like Towie. You can at least have a wry smile at them. And it did feel like that. You go, right, first victory, absolutely played them off the park in the first half. They've then had to bring on Fernandes and Embremo and everybody else. That's a victory in itself. And then they've had to resort to lumping it up top to Harry Maguire, like Rotherham. And yeah, you thought, do you know what? This isn't too bad. And then the penalties, you got to a point when it was 10-10. You go, come on, lads, someone win it.
Yeah, in it. I had to work early in the morning. I'm like, come on, wrap it up, boys. Here we go. I've got stuff to do tomorrow. Day's gone already. There's something wonderful about watching players like Bruno Fernandes specifically sashay about a absolutely soaking wet through Blundell Park. There's something artistic about it, and I don't know why, but you get like this mental image of him sat in the changing rooms where there's probably no hot water, and you know what I mean, and no one's got any tape, like Sunday League type of thing.
Our old owner had cut off to save money, had cut the other mains water supply, so that comes in, and it's never been. It's going to be a pain in the arse to put it back together, so they haven't done it. So the big stand has it, and then the water pressure. You know, when it's full to capacity, there is no way there was anything coming out of that other than a 60-year-old man trying to go to the loo sort of water pressure coming out of the shower. The best bit was at that half time was amazing because I was in the main stand, the old rickety one. And you know what it's like, because it's packed, everyone's has to get tickets wherever they can. So the mates, people you don't usually see are like crammed into areas they've never been. And everyone's just walking around for 15 minutes ago. I can't believe this. What's going on? Like hugging each other. And the away dressing room is right pushed back against the walkway. You go for the toilet, you go for whatever, and you can see all the Man United shirts hung up in sort of 1970s frosted glass window, and everyone is just banging on the windows singing Getting Sacked in the Morning. And then around the front again, the same sort of thing with the dugout, and all these kids are like banging on the perspex going, Casemiro, and the second he looks around they go, fuck off.
Well, welcome to Lincolnshire. Come on. I absolutely love that. Absolutely love it.
Yeah,
so
that'll remind me a minute.
So after all that euphoria died down, we spoke briefly about the league form. Coming up next is Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough. Now, on behalf of the Sheffield Wednesday fans, I'm going to offer our apologies that the big crowd won't be there, because the League Cup is what we've identified to be the ones to try and boycott, try and oust our chairman. However, from your perspective, there must be a bit of you thinking, hang on a minute, this club's on its backside. We might even get into the next round. You must be looking forward to it, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't mind it not being packed. The last time I went to Hillsborough, we got battered 7-1 in the FA Cup in the 90s. We did score the goal of the game at least, but I don't mind that bit. And all credit to you all to be able to do that and have the strength and such a large fan base with such different opinions. And I know this kind of polarizes it, but to get together, you'll only have some people who Wednesday is probably their entire life. Yeah, and they will go just because that's what they know. And there are some you'll go, look, mate, this is not part of what we want to do. But there are others you look, this is what they've got. This is everything. And you have to sort of ruefully look at it and go, look, it is what it is. But town fans will be very respectful. They won't spend a penny inside. The bars and the histories around Sheffield will do a fair bit of
Good.
cash, and everyone banging on a tram from Meadowall, thinking that back in the Championship days, something like that. They'll all be enjoying it.
There's been a really lovely outpouring of. Gratitude is completely the wrong word, but it's been dead nice, right? So there's the Leicester fans clapped us in when we went in late. Bristol City fans yesterday clapped us on 10 minutes that was when we decided we were going to do our chanting and things like that. The opposition fans have been really respectful of what the trust specifically, and like you say, there has been a huge division in opinion in how this should play out for the Sheffield Wednesday fans and what we should be doing. Should we be backing the team and not the regime and all those other phrases that come with it? Are we costing people jobs and livelihoods by not spending a pound in the ground? Things like that. There's some really difficult chats to have, and I'm really struggling being balanced and measured about it because, I think you and I, Alex, have probably done more radio appearances than many over the last couple of weeks, but all for differing reasons, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 20 quid cash in hand is much appreciated.
Honestly, I'm going to start invoicing some people at this.
I kind of hope we treated the Manchester United game a bit like a Big Brother contestant in the early 2000s. We've got like a week to make as much cash out of this as is humanly possible. But it is a shame. And one of the problems that I personally, I'm going far too deep into, rather previewing the game. Football is quite rival, and it's about division. So you get to a point where let's break it down. Blades fans going, fuck Wednesday, this is really funny, and you go, actually, it's not, because how many people watch a game in the 92 and are invested in it? If you all stick together, if you're all there, I mean, it's the same with us with Scunny. I mean, we've seen our terrible times, but when they were up against the wall and so much was going on and it was a soap opera, we're putting our hand in our pocket because if I was a Sheffield United fan, thank God I'm not. But I wouldn't want to live a day without Wednesday to take the mick out of, and vice versa. And
I think you need it, don't you?
Yeah. And I think football fans kind of need to see the bigger picture at times when they go, look, this is about the betterment of the game. And I know full well, say the worst was to ever happen and Wednesday were, cease trading as a limited company, you guys and your mates would all still be there. And whether you're playing down the park or, having to ground share with Hallam, you'll build back up. And it's a pain in the arse and it's, breaking it. But the football club stays with its fans. It doesn't stay with the owners. And what I kind of hope is at some point if clubs go into administration, the first thing they do is they go into that sort of German model of 51.40 or 51.49, and it stays with you, and it becomes almost like a listed community asset. And that's the only way you can hope for. But it shouldn't take the likes of a club with the size of Wednesday to have to do that. And all credit to you for doing it. It's incredible.
I appreciate it, Alex. Honestly, it's been everything we've had from even the media, the journalists. I spoke to Henry Winter this morning. Bit of a name clang there, wasn't he?
Clang, yeah.
Clang. He's a daunting, sexy man. I had no idea he was that cool and sexy. Oh, good Lord.
He doesn't come to Blundell Park that often.
But he was really complimentary about the protests, and he said, I'm over the moon that you guys are doing this. I thought that was genuinely dead nice. But I tell you what, look, let's talk about Grimsby Town and the upcoming game. Am I right? Have we charged you through the nose for your tickets? Because we do get a lot of feedback about that. Have we been too stupid about it?
It's not terrible, but the big thing has been they've recently said, look, we can give you 2,000 extra tickets, but if you sell 1,999, you're not having them.
Taking them back.
So the club have bought effectively the club have bought 2,000 tickets and are now going to resell them to the fans. So if 1,500 go, there'll be about 4,000 or 5,000 there, I'd imagine. It's one of the only places we get a direct train route to. So we're well on our way. Hopefully we're a bit like what you guys are in the future. We're really lucky. Our owner was a fan, but kind of lost his way.
Has he not just been voted in local government or something to that?
Yeah, so that he was replaced then by two local lads that had done well. And so Jason is the one who's now the investment minister, which means he comes into my actual work, which is a little bit weird. he sort of started up Match.com, helped set up Match.com, lastminute.com, Skyscanner, stuff like that. He now owns like Simply Business.
Wow.
And he's brilliant. And so is Andrew. Andrew's my friend. He's the quiet one, stockbroker, hedge fund manager sort of thing. But his family owned the local butchers. So anyone ever wants to talk to him about is football or his dad's sausages. And that's it. And literally one of the first things when he comes in, they're like, right, are we bringing back the sausages or what? I've got other things to talk about. No. Your dad's butchers was brilliant. But they're really good. And listen to them both, because especially Jason, he does stuff in the Guardian and stuff. He was well worth the listen. And we're quite lucky. So when we got trounced in the FA Cup quarter-final by Brighton, they must have spent their entire time. Is it Tony Bloom that's the manager, the owner of? I assume they were just like quaffing champagne with him, and aren't you beautiful? Look at your hair. Where do you get your nails done? Because we're the only other club that can use sort of Jamestown Analytics for our data. This is the company that Brighton use, and he owns, to sort of look at what players there are. And the team have gone basically Football Manager in the early 2000s. So, Gazer Tory's from the Faroe Islands. Daddy Thansorthan is from Iceland. We're bringing in like George McEachran, who's undervalued, won the under-17s World Cup with England. David Artell's having a good time. He's on this short list, looking out who's the wonder kids that will go. No, I won't relocate to Grimsby.
Yeah.
He gets to the 99th out of 150. Go. Well. It can't get any worse than being in Syria, so I'm coming over.
Yeah. Brazilian 60-year-old wonder kids just flying over. Like, yeah. In fact, actually, Footy Manager didn't come out last year, so I don't know what's happening. I don't know who to look out for, because
maybe that's why we were quite quiet in the transfer market this year.
That's it. There was no. It's all Sports Interactive's fault. So I mean, look, with this game coming up, you must be absolutely, slavering at the mouth for it. You must be thinking we've got a buy here, because we're going to chuck out the kids, right? We're not going to play the full strength because we're so delicate right now in terms of depth, because we can't strengthen the team. In the League Cup, we've played kids, and fortunate might be the wrong word. It was a blood and guts performance to knock Leeds out, and they were rubbish on the day. And people are starting to realise that Dominic Calvert-Lewin isn't that good, which is music to my ears, because I've been banging that drum for a number of years. But there's an element of you're thinking, if we just keep it together, play the right team, and do it in a professional way, you must be fancying it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've got to have an opportunity to push the players out that we need to. There is that element. Well, you lads did beat Leeds. You can raise your game. I know, obviously, it'll be a little bit of a different team to face us, but it is an opportunity, as you saw. And the way we beat Manchester United was we took the game to them, marked them man for man, pressed up the pitch. It wasn't sort of 11 men, well, not all the time. It wasn't 11 men behind the ball throwing it off the line. It was taking it to them. So I would imagine it's an open game. Our problem has been this season, if teams sit back a little bit and let us attack, we can't really use the pace we've got, and we've got pace to sort of break it through. If you let Charles Vernon cut inside from the left, you're in trouble. And so if he can do that, then he scored. Basically all 3 goals at Milton Keynes came from him doing that, just cutting on in the inside and throwing it across the box.
Giving away the match tactics here, Alex.
Do you know what? I'd kind of hope that you've worked it out, to be perfectly honest. Unless it's just some sort of 16, all you can afford is a 16-year-old watching the highlights. We did ask once why. I used to quite like watching the game back. He used to be able to put it on, and on a Monday I could then go watch it like as I'm doing work. And they went, yeah, but we want to make it as much of a pain in the arse for the opposition to try and find a full quality game from us rather than just sticking it up on the website. But there is an opportunity. Their danders are up. I wonder what sort of reaction Saturday's game is going to get from Artell. I think there'll be a bit of, look, if you can't perform against Cambridge, then why should I put you in against Sheffield Wednesday? There will be a lot of fans there. They'll make a racket. It will be a weird atmosphere, though. Let's be entirely honest. And there are a few players that will be interesting. Kabia up front. Kabia, who apparently, allegedly, shall we say, but it's been, people that we know, got punched by the Cambridge manager on Saturday.
Brilliant.
in the tunnel. So I hope he comes out with a massive shiner or some sort of.
Or one of them
mascot.
JP Mateta head guards on, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Looks
That'd
like
be
he's
quite
been
funny.
looks like he's been in flares till 2:00 in the morning on Friday night and caught the run.
What a reference that is! I tell you what, do they still do flares? Are they still a thing? I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
do you know what? That was what we found out when we beat Manchester United. Is like I don't live up there anymore. I was like, where have all the nightclubs gone? I have no idea.
People don't go out anymore. They wear flip flops and do a brunch. That's what they do.
I'm looking at the people of Yorkshire. Where are you? I mean, where I feel like Delia Smith stood on Cleethorpes Seafront at sort of 3:00 in the afternoon on Bank Holiday Monday, shouting, "Where are you? Let's be having you." Because Flares has gone. We had Reflex, which I don't think everybody else had. Was like an 80s one.
Oh, Reflex was elite. But what happened was I was DJing for Flares and Reflex, and they turned them all into Pop World so they could move the brand forward.
It's
so now
that's the life we lead, isn't it? Now it
That's
shows
it.
now. What would my dad have said that was the thing? Like the fashion's changed. Ours has gone, they've moved out Reflex and Flares and they've gone up to Pop World and whatever they're going to call the late 10, like the tens, the teens.
And that, do you know what? I was in that meeting and they're going to stay with Pop. I said, listen, because they tried a 90s brand called Babylon. That didn't land because we were in the 90s, you had more hip hop, you had more dance, you had more, but you also had the boy bands and the girl bands and stuff like that. And they never got it right. So they had one down in Portsmouth where I was DJing. And then they went, now we're going to change this into a pop world so it can evolve and move on. So now they're playing the 2010s, they're playing Pitbull and Rihanna, but it's not got the overarching. You don't know what decade you're going for.
Do you think our dads and stuff were there looking really disappointed as the 40s version of whatever it was being shut down, and now it's going into sort of 1960s Britpop mania or whatever it was? But
and that's it.
Yeah, and now they've made the Pier, which was a half decent nightclub, into a terrible fish and chip shop. Shout out to Papa's, the worst fish and chips in the planet.
I tell you what, listen, this has been brought to you by TalkSport Fan Network. Stay on the line. We'll do some predictions after this.
Don't skip ahead. Don't press that button. These ads are lean, not belly mutton. A tiny break before we pop. And don't forget when fun stops.
So welcome back. I was just trying to say some things. Alex, listen, I'm going to have to trouble you for a match prediction on this one, mate. And you know, don't hold back. We know it's a tough time for Sheffield Wednesday, and everybody's piling on. If you'd have seen us against Bristol City, we're recording this Sunday yesterday. Oh God, you'd have been sat there rubbing your hands with glee.
Yeah, but is it one of these ones where you're going to put out a load of youth players and we have no idea how any of them play?
It's exactly.
That lad's like 16, so don't hurt him.
Half of our team, we're sponsored by a betting company. Half our team aren't old enough to have the sponsor on the front of their shirt. That's what you're going to be playing.
We've been working out because winner chicken dinner, which is getting a lot of love on the back of our shirts. I'm not sure whether it's not a betting site, but it's like a competition website. So I'm not 100% sure if half of our kids can wear it either. But I won't get our club into hot water because I know my lad's got it on the back of his. I've got it. Let's be honest. Let's go boring 0-0. It sounds like a ghost town. So town fans start being moany with themselves because we like to be combustible with each other, even if we're as happy as Larry. And then we win 13-14 on penalties. Let's do it that way.
Is that the plan? I like that. 0-0 was what I was thinking, or a poor 1-1 draw or something like that. Something that's going to sound like one of those during COVID awful bloody five-a-side games that we ended up playing. They weren't five-a-side, but they sounded like it. You can hear the players shouting and screaming at each other. And I realised that a couple of the players that we had weren't that popular with other members of the squad, given what they were saying to them on the pitch. You know what I mean? Alex, that was absolutely brilliant. Tell us about your podcast. Tell us about DN35.
Yeah, we don't have a podcast. We don't have a postcode of our own, so we have to steal Doncaster's. So that's what it's named after. Yeah, Sundays 8:00. If you want to hear a load of middle-aged white men talk about a lower league football team, you are more than welcome to. The best ones that we did an at the match at Manchester United. So if you just want to hear me screaming for 30 minutes that the Premier League is a scam and they could have spent 75 million on saving the NHS rather than spending it on Sesko, who takes
could have saved us with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
money that's the worst bit. Like, we're gonna. There's all this chat about Alexander Isak going to Liverpool. Buy us twice, 3 times even. You know what I mean?
Look. Hillsborough would be amazing for like the Liverpool women's team and under 21s.
Innit?
Imagine that. Granted, it'll cause a bit of a fuss when they go, right, we're changing the seats red.
Yeah. I can't see it. I can't see us going for that. But anything to get our chairman's name off the seats, I think we'd probably like that.
Take it. The only interesting thing I'm going to work out is what kit are we going to wear? Because I have no idea. Because black and white is that one, and then the other one is a blue and red Crystal Palace striped thing, and then the third kit is an all white shirt. So I have no idea what we're wearing. You might be coming out in an away kit.
You're going to have one of those, lesser spotted fourth kits that they just bring out that all of a sudden become collector's items. You know what I mean?
Just looking at see what's left in the club shop going, well, we got last season's third kit and our striker's coming out in a 5XL because that's the only one he's got.
Yeah.
He's looking like he's got a cape on. That's the interesting bit.
Yeah, there's a sports direct in Cletherpeas, isn't there? Is there one in Grimsby Town?
There's two. It used to be.
They are. You're fine.
Yeah,
you're easy.
Yeah,
you're easy.
Just walking. Should we do that? Just walk out in a Manchester United kit, just to really rub it in. That'll be. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, ring them up, ask her to borrow it. That'd be great. Alex, that was. Go on.
No, I was going to say they might have left it in the back. I know our owner.
Yeah, they probably not took it with him.
Did you see our owner? They sent us a rider basically asking what they wanted, like teas and stuff like that. And they said, like, where is the manager's changing room? And in the back of his fucking car.
Manager's changing room. Get me the Sean Dyche meme. I'm not having
Game's gone. Yeah, game's gone.
Listen, that was absolutely box office. Alex, thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon. Stay on the line and we'll have a brief catch up after.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week. Bringing you football analysis.
They said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you banter.
I don't think anybody wants to listen to my boring anecdotes.
Why not? You've been doing it for 4 years on this show.
I should not have said that. I should not have said that.
This show's like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan.
Hey, pay your bills. I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there for podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday week. Join us.
Put on your